welcome to the table. It's Jason. We've got for today this game, and it is two games in one. You have the Commands and Colors version as well as the Art of Tactic version, two different rule sets, and we're going to look at the Art of Tactic version today. With some Total War Shogun music in the background and a glass of the best beer in the world. And I actually poured it, and looks like it still hasn't settled yet, but it'll almost be two colors once it does. So it's still settling. Anyway, with the Art of Tactic, well, let me back up. I should add that I have tweaked it a little bit. The Art of Tactic system works much better with two people rather than solo. That said, I had to, again, tweak it a little bit. This is, what I did is something that is not necessarily new. I've used this system in the past. Not sure where I picked this up. I don't know if I can take full credit. But what I've done is take some Scrabble tiles, you can use numbers, whatever, and assign each unit a letter, starting with A, all the way up to however many units you have, and just run through the alphabet, both sides, and then when you have all those laid out, you take duplicates, place them in a bag, and draw to determine which units go. So that's what we've done there. We also have each unit coinciding with a unit card. So we have up to, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20 units on the table, which means 20 cards each assigned to a unit. Now why do we need cards? Well, each unit will be assigned in order, and there are up to, actually there are up to 12 different orders you can assign. We'll only be using 10 for this game. Let's see, we won't be using, where is it? There we go. We won't be using receive supplies or rest. But the other 10 orders, including defense, all-around defense, fire and retreat, fire ranged weapons, assault, run, march, retreat, join up, and ambush, are all up for grabs by way of orders. And that said, this is an orders-driven system for the Art of Tactic. And just in general and overall, the Art of Tactic system is way more detailed and comprehensive than the Commands and Colors version. Doesn't necessarily make it better, but for those of you that want something a little juicier, a little thicker to chew on, this is going to interest you. So let's just get going, and it might be slow at start until I get the flow, and then we'll be moving along. As usual, don't know that we'll be filming all of this, but we'll be filming the majority of it. And for the scenario, again, I've screwed all this up because what I actually have set up here is a Commands and Colors scenario. And why did I do it like that? I don't know. I don't have a good answer. But that's how I did it. And for the Commands and Colors scenario, we have, this is the first Samurai Skirmish. Is it not? Yes, it is. And it says, this is non-historical. It's the first scenario in the Commands and Colors scenario booklet. But in order to win, you'll need 5 banners. So that means we need to eliminate 5 total of leaders and or units. So that's how you win the game. And cards, won't be using cards because that is for the Commands and Colors version, which you would use just like all the other versions. Draw cards to determine which sections are activated, etc. So we won't be going that route. Alright, and then the dice, again, that's a little different as well for the Art of Tactic. We've got 20-sided dice here, which roll quite nicely. And depending on the units being attacked, etc., will determine the number you need to roll equal or less than to inflict casualties. And there are a number of modifiers based on various things, among them the type of order assigned and the type of unit being attacked. So I think that covers it. If I pop off camera, it's because I'm grabbing a drink of the God elixir of the gods. So we're going to draw a shit, and we draw a J. Put that on the card. Who is J? That would be the Reds. Just got to find where it's at. It would be this unit. And I did, these come with bases in the game, and you have to put these figures together. But I used my own bases and did kind of a rudimentary paint job, just something to be able to differentiate the units from each other. But that's it. So this is J, and let's see, we want to assign J in order, right? So what do we assign them? Let's assign an assault order to J, which is the X doodah. Mark that as such with a dry erase pen. Assault order means they can move up 2 and attack. So there's 1, there's 2. We'll put them here so we're not adjacent to 2 enemy units. And I should add all of these units have a base strength of 4. That is 4 casualties they can suffer before being eliminated. Assault order also allows you to, not only can you just move 2, you can attack after the move. Let's see, you must resolve. There's something maybe not. Okay. And again, I'm because I'm screwed up, I'm not playing as I've already described, but there are other little nuances as well that I'm ignoring, so that I'm not fully adhering to the rules as such, so bad on me. But they did move up, they can't attack. And we're going to engage in melee. So, for that unit, J, we flip him over. When he attacks infantry, he needs a 4 or less, and you roll 1 die for each unit. There are more than 4 units on here, but I have all their strengths marked as 4 on the cards. So that's 4 dice, 4 or less. And here's what we get. Nothing. We got nothing. Now here's where it gets weird. Here's the one thing that I will use by way of commands and colors. I am going to allow battle back. Again, I have to tweak this because I don't have quote-unquote simultaneous movement going. So if we had 2 players here, we would go down the line and activate our orders at the same time, which makes for an interesting mix-up, but kind of hard to do as one person. So I am going to allow battle back here with this Ashigari Yari? Let me say that correctly. These are Ashigaru infantry, so yeah, I think Yari. Spearmen, same deal. They have 4, and they're going to need 4 or less. And they got nothing as well. So that's done. Draw another shit. This time we have A. So you have some momentum that can take place here, which is what's going to take place. And drawing shits this way, so Reds get to go again. As an example of that, it would be this unit here, who is also an Ashi. Why is this so hard for me? Ashigaru. Say it with me. Ashigaru infantry. And again, they can assault as well if desired. They also have a leader attached to them, so he'll add as a bonus in combat. So rather than 4, you'll have 5 dice. You can roll 1, 2. If we put him here, that'll allow us to attack. However, We have a ranged unit here that he's trying to attack, so yeah. I'm going to allow this ranged unit to fire. I mean, they're moving from 2x's away, so you can't tell me this ranged unit won't be firing as they move along. So I'm going to go ahead and give S a defensive order, which will allow them to fire. Because we're in the range weapons, which right down. Yeah, defend order, which is just that's X. So once he moves, let's say he moves here, well, we can fire. We being him. That'll be his quote-unquote battle back. So on S with his 2x is away, does 1 and 9s. We want 9 or less, really? No. Yeah, 9 or less. That's going to be brutal. So we're going to need at a 2x range for these gunners, arquebus, ashigaru, arquebus. Yeah, 9 or less. And 4 dice. And we got nothing. Nobody's got anything yet. That means we can continue our move. Not going to move adjacent to those two. We'll move here. Horrible shooting. And but now they can attack at, that is A. And they also have 4 or less. With 4 dice, no, 5 dice because of the leader. So surely we'll get something here. We did get 1 hit. Now, there is a defense factor that these units have. So although we did get 1 hit, S has a defensive 1. So a defensive 1 means essentially we absorb 1 hit. If we would have gotten more than 1 hit, we could do some stuff. But that's not the case. All right, draw another chit. Will be, is it reds again? I see a B. It is reds again. This is crazy. This is nuts. I've never seen anything like it. That's not true. All right, reds are going to go again. So this is their 3rd move in a row. Talk about momentum. 1, 2. Now they can do an assault move, but only being able to move 1, 2 hexes is not going to put me adjacent to a unit to attack it, because these are samurai naginata, basically a pole weapon with a blade on the end. Let's give them a run order, 1, 2, just to move them up there. So run, B has a run order. B. Mark his order. Alright. Now we have to make assumptions again. Let's assume that this ranged unit here, R, has a defensive order. So we'll mark him, R, defense. And that would be X with a weird thing. You have to learn the symbols here to represent the orders. That is R. And he's going to be allowed a defensive, more or less defensive fire, I guess you'd call it. 2 X's away, that's 5, so 4 dice at 5 or less for this bow unit here. And we got 1 hit, but again, with this B unit, I'm sure he has a defense of 1. Now he has a defense of 2 actually, so he only got 1 hit, but even if I'd have gotten 2 hits, he'd absorb both of those, so there's still no casualties this round thus far. Draw again. Draw an H. Who is H? Let me guess, Reds. Oh my god, it is Reds. It really is. So this will be their 4th turn in a row. This is crazy. Let's give them a run order as well. We'll come along the side here. 1, 2. This is also a Samurai Naginata unit. H has a run order. He's moving up the field. For H, mark his order, and draw a shit. Now we do have a ranged unit here that we could assume has, which I actually could have done against these guys, for those fellers, but that's my loss. I guess I just missed out. L. See if I marked him. I'm just going to go ahead. I went ahead and gave him a defend order, so that doesn't happen in the future. All right, so H moved up. Draw another shit. Draw another chitlin. This would be L. Let me guess, L is red. No. All right, black. So defend order. I'm reading the rule here. So it's saying he can fire defensively, oddly enough, right? No. Defensive order. At units that move within his line of fire and within range, I'm going to go ahead and let him fire at these guys here. That is L. And where is L? The bow unit, he has, I mean, actually 2 X's away. That's going to be 5. 5 or less with 4 dice. Now with these ranged units, if you're adjacent to an enemy unit, you can't fire your ranged weapons. You have to engage in melee, and melee sucks with ranged units. So 5 or less on 4 dice. And we got 2 hits, so J has, what's J's defense? Should just be 1. Yep, 1. So with a defensive 1, we absorb 1 of those hits, but he does take a casualty, so his strength of 4 is now a 3. I have a little counter here to keep track of that. I adjust it accordingly. That is L's action. Draw another chit. That is a C. This is black again. What does black want to do? Now black is a Samurai Naginata. 1, 2, I could move into something. 1, 2. I'm going to give him an assault order, but I've got some ranged units I got to move through to get there, so this will be interesting. D. Yep, alright, D. Mark him. Oh, I need to mark a couple reds here. That would be O and E. O. Bear with me here. O and E. Mark O. And we'll mark E. I don't recall that there's any problem with changing orders. You don't have to roll to see if they follow orders. You don't have to roll to change orders. You just change them. You could house rule that real easy if that bothers you. Let's see. So we will pull him up, but again, he's going to be subject to 2 rounds of bow fire, which is fairly brutal, O and E, and yeah, that's 5 or less on 8 dice, essentially. We'll roll 4 at a time though. So 5 or less on 4 for the first unit, and we did get 1 hit, but he'll absorb that, and then 5 or less for the next unit. Now, if there are no hits on the second unit. Now, bear in mind that the hit that he absorbed, that lasts the entire turn, so I need to keep track of that somehow. P, because he absorbed it, and now he's on P. He's going to be a lot more vulnerable the rest of this turn. Any hits that they get will just go straight to him as casualties. That's P. Keep track of everything. Now he can finish his move. Jesus, after all that. And he has a leader with him, so that's 5 dice. We'll be rolling on 4 or less. So 5 dice, 4 or less at this bow unit. And their battle back, the Reds' bow unit, their battle back was essentially the defensive fire that took place. Only 1 hit, so what is their, what is a bow unit's defense? 1, so he does absorb a hit, he being O, so I need to mark that. So now he's vulnerable. So nothing doing there except a 1 hit. Now we draw another chip. And we get an I. Who is I? I is they. That is red. Man, red's just dominating. Okay, so here's our first cavalry action. Now if cavalry assaults, they can move 4. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Which is what we're gonna do. 1, 2, right up here. And they have a leader as well, and cavalry is absolutely brutal in this game. No question. Especially against infantry, but also against other cavalry. I have a thing about knocking over trees. Okay, so here we go. We're attacking this spear unit here. No defensive fire because they're not ranged weapons, but they will be able to battle back after the cavalry attack. So I has an assault order, and they attack with, Jesus, see, look at this. Against infantry, 3 dice per figure at 8 or less. Isn't that brutal? Tell me that's not brutal. Let me make sure I got this right. Yep. 3 dice at 8 or less. And there's 4 of them. Plus a leader, 5 of them. Jesus. 1, 2. Alright, here we go. 8 or less. We got 1 hit. Let me keep track of this. 1 hit on the first guy. Less. 3 hits on the second guy, so that's now 4. 8 or less. 2 more hits, and so that we're already at 6 hits here. And that Ashigaru Spearman unit only has a defense of, it's got to be 1. Yeah. So he's done. He's been decimated. The leader, that's a shame because they had a leader, and you know there's enough hits already that the leader's gone as well. So I'd call that two banners, a unit and a. Two banners, a unit and a leader. So how many did we need here to win this scenario? According to the rules of the game, we're not supposed to be playing 5. So they're at 2 now. The Reds with their badass samurai cavalry unit there decimated our spearmen, who do get to battle back. So let's see if they do anything. That would have been 4 or 5 dice against cavalry at 6 or less. So something could happen here. Something does not happen. All right, nothing. All we needed was 6s or less, and we got nothing. So they just got decimated. All right, back to drawing. What unit was that? I don't remember. So I needed to pull their card. This doesn't matter. We drew an M. Who is M? Anti-M? Don't tell me it's red again. Is that the unit that just got destroyed? I think it is. Yeah. Hilarious. That's the unit we just lost. Let's put this here. And this here. This is much better. I like that better. Easier to keep track of what's going on. So draw another chit, because that was the unit that got blown out. Right? Yes. What do we get this time? Oh. Who is O? O is a archer unit. Reds, go figure. However, they're adjacent to our black Ashigaru spearmen, so they can only engage in close combat. And like I said, they suck in that respect, and they should have a defensive order. Do they not? These O's. Yeah, they do. So, no modifier in melee. Alright. So we're just going to go 4 dice, and we need 2 or less. See, that's terrible. That's why ranged units suck in melee. 2 or less. Nothing. No surprise there. On the battle back with these Ashigaru, that's going to be 5 dice at 4 or less. That'll show them. And they got nothing either. Alright. If you say so. P. Find our P here. P is a Ashigaru. Well, that's the guys that. Okay, so they get to go again, and now battle back. All right, so 5 dice. The unit that just battled back has been activated, so they're going to go again. 5 dice at 4 or less. Oh, we gotta get something here. Nothing. And then 4 dice at 2 or less for the battle back on those archer units. Nothing. F. By the cavalry unit. Now this would be cool, because you know how strong they are. He's going to assault. F is. Give him an assault order here in a second. And mark his card. F. Assault. 3 dice at 8 or less. Here's that crazy. They're just. I think they're over overstrength. Either way, here we go. 8 or less. Here's the first horse. 2 hits. Second, 8 or less. 4 hits. Third. Now we're up to 6, and that unit's done. See, they just blow them out. But they did get to battle back with 5 dice, because they have a leader at 6 or less. Yep, 6 or less. Come on, get something here. They did get a 6. So they got 1, but that's going to be absorbed, right? F. Where's F? They have a defense of 3. Yep. Drops it down to a 2, so again, I know I've already said this, but I have to say Cavalry is far too strong in this game. That's just my opinion. I don't know, maybe that was the intention. Maybe that was the intention, to make Cavalry so each side has two banners now. And I didn't read anything about if you cause a unit to retreat or eliminate a unit that you can advance into the vacant hex. I kid you not, I've read these rules probably 4 times in the past week, and I've seen nothing in here about that, so they have to just stay put. Throw another chit. S. Why is there no S? Our S got rubbed off. Poor S. S is arquebus. These guys here, who do have a shot, do they not? They don't. Now, here's another thing that's different from commanding colors. Facing does count. And each of these guys only gets 1 action per activation, and there's nobody in his facing, so he will turn. Now, if you can move 2 hexes and so I think what will happen is fire. So defend on S. S will defend. He moved to change facing, but so what I'm getting at is there should be a penalty for moving, so where he would normally fire at, and I don't want to look this up, 2 hexes away at 9 or less. We're going to cut that in half since they moved and make that 4.5 round down. So let's say 4 or less. So 4 dice at 4 or less. Otherwise it'd be 9 or less, only because they moved. And we did get 1 hit on that eye, so I think that eye is, yeah, now a 2 instead of a 3. And you can run out of ammo or your ranged units in this game as a optional rule, which is kind of cool. Which then allows for the order that deals with receives supplies. So if you're a ranged unit that has used up your ammo, you can enact a receive supplies order to replenish your ammo. And N, what the hell's N? Well, N is this unit up here. They're going to run like the wind, run like something. No, they're not. They're gonna assault. I just realized that guy's in range. And it's gonna assault. Well, why wouldn't they? Just move right off of that hill and do your thing. That being rolling 5 dice at, it should be 4 or less in, yeah, 4 or less. 5 dice, 4 or less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, no whammies. Whoa, look at this. They got 4 hits. Nice job. In. 4 hits on who? On that other spear unit, P, who has a defensive strength of 9, so they're gone, because they'd already had their defense blown out, so they're done. That is now, and they had a leader. 4 banners. P. Red just needs 1 more banner now to win the game. Shouldn't be too hard, especially once one of their cavalry units activates. On battle back, yeah, they get to battle back, you're right. Let's see, 5 dice at 4 or less. This could be interesting. Nothing, okay, so just a clean elimination. What shits we got left here? Just a couple T. Will be this Samurai Naginata unit, and guess I'll give them a defense order. Call me crazy. And one of the benefits here I'm just now noticing of defense order is +1 defense. No combat modifiers, but +1 on your ability to absorb hits, right? So T, is that correct? T? Yeah. 4 dice. Samurai Naginata, so it's going to be a little bit easier to eliminate, yeah. Wow, 8 or less. So almost as devastating, not quite, as cavalry, so 8 or less on 4 dice. What does that give us? That gives us 1 hit on I, who's getting whittled down. I is now a 1 instead of a 3. There's only a 1 hit there. I guess the battle back. Jesus Christ. If I'm playing this again, I'm totally changing this. Cavalry is, it's ridiculous. 8 or less for the first unit. 1 hit. 8 or less for the second unit. 2 more, so that's 3. 8 or less for the third one. That's 4. 8 or less for the fourth one. That's 2 more hits, so there will be essentially done. And that is the game. Now, here's my gripe. You know what it is. How in the hell can cavalry be that strong? Don't get it. I don't understand. Here's why. Because I have their overall strength set up as commands and color strength. So all these units on here have a strength of 4, which would be, I believe, incorrect for and that would make sense, so let's hope that's the case. For the art of tactic, because their bases are should only be 3, a strength of 3. I mean, it's still high as far as yeah. It'll only be 3 plus 1, so instead of 5 dice, I should only be rolling 4 dice. But even then, I never have to make it to that 5th die. They're still so devastating, even with just assuming they were 4 dice. So that's still too high. But the Reds did good, knocked out 3 black units. Having momentum with the activation probably had something to do with that. Also, not to beat a dead horse, but the cavalry kicking arse had something to do with that as well. And that's essentially a busted up way of playing the art of tactic with a little bit, just a tiny dash of commands and colors in there, and a little sprinkle of some house rule. But a lot of fun, and again, a couple of house rules that I need to focus on, one being the cavalry, and some rules that I need to focus on and pay more attention to are a lot of these modifiers in the orders cards. But when you look at these things, there's a lot going on here, and if you're not familiar or accustomed to them, it's easy to get overwhelmed. So that's an order card, and that's one side, and then you have the back side. So a lot to keep track of, but you play this thing a couple of times. It shouldn't take too long to get gain familiarity, and playing this by way of precursor to the Commands and Colors GMT Samurai Battles edition that is coming out. Obviously different from this, which is the Zvezda game, and from what I understand, this Konstantin Krivenko chap, who is responsible for at least half of this, because Richard was responsible for Mr. Borg, the Commands and Colors half. This guy died, and the only thing I read was he died an untimely death. Now, what does that mean? Russia seems to be like the, I don't know, like we were in the Wild West days over there right now. I wonder if there's a mafia hit on him. I like to entertain that conspiracy theory and think the guy was wrapped up in something wrong or illegal, and that's how he made his money and was able to fund this game. That's probably unfair to assume. The guy was probably a wonderful human being, and well, I like his game design stuff. So that's it. I'm just talking nonsense now. Thank you guys for watching, and not sure what I'll have for you next time, but something. All right.